Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. The bead roller is complete. Stick around. So, we're going to get this one finished up once and for all. There's a couple of more modifications I'm going to do to it. I'm going to do it all in this video here, and then we're going to get this all cleaned up and get it painted and get it back together and get it operational in this video, okay? In the last video, we made the table for it. That was modification number 6 to the simple bead roller. What I'm going to do here now today, the 2 more modifications I want to do with this here now. The first one is I want to position a spot where I can actually mount all my dies to. And I also want to build a guide rail to go along here. But first, let's do one at a time. We're going to make up a spot here where I can mount all my dies. So let's have a look and see what I come up with here. So I'll have 2 dies on the machine, and then I have these many here. These all come with the kit. Eventually I'll probably want to get more different styles, probably make a few, whatever, but this is all I'm going to concentrate on today, is getting this part here done. So I got 5 sets here now that I got to set up. All I did is I went through my junk pile, again, recycling, and I found this bit of round rod. All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut lengths, probably that long, and put these on a bit of an angle, just so they slips on over it. Simple, and then weld that onto the post, and then I got to drop them on there. And so now I just got to figure out this distance here and where I can put it on the bead roller. With the table fold down, I got this spot in here, okay? That's inside here. You can look straight in through here and see it, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up here now. So these will mount in here, going up through here. I'm going to space them out equally, and I'm going to have them above this bar here and just have them coming up through there. So I'm going to measure them up now. Figure out the length of a rod, cut that off, and then start welding them on a bit of an angle there so that you can just slip them on over the end of it there. I marked it right here. This is where that where the table rests here, and I come up 2 inches, and I mark there, and then I went every 2.5 after that, coming up, and I got the points marked there in the center of the beam. So I'm just going to turn around and weld them on there. I'll weld the first one on. I'm just going to eyeball this, not going to get crazy with it, and get them welded on. You saw me there, I cut off 5 lengths of the round stock. I chalked it up in the lathe and round out the edges of it. And just used a grinder to do that. And then I just positioned 2 of them, eyeballed them, and welded them in place. And then I put a straight edge up along here and then just start laying up against it and eyeballing it. I never got carried away with it, okay? That's all they are to them, that's it. Just weld it on. And there's the marking there. And with the table down, here's where the 2. Just in out of the way, tucked in there. Not interfering with nothing. So that's it for that. So that's modification number 7 completed. Now, let's do one more modification on this. So the last modification is going to be a guide. What I want to have is that when you put a large piece of a panel across this here and you want to run it through it and you want to do a consistent bead like on an edge or something like that, I want to have a guide along here somehow. One of the reasons why I left the table straight, because what I'm going to use this here to mount it to. I'm not going to mount it. A lot of people mount something to this here and just has a little small piece up here. I just find that with the little short one there, you still got a tendency you can actually still rock like this. But if you got a longer guide going along here, you get the line looks straighter when you cut it through. So what I got to do now is I got to come up with some steel. I got to find a piece of steel that'll fit through here. That got an edge on it that's nice and sharp on the bottom edge, and it'll go from here over to here. And then I got to find a way to mount it over here that I can slide from side to side, and mount it over here that I can slide from side to side, and some way I can tighten it up. So let's go see what I can dig up. So here's what I found and what I come up with. Going through my bin of steel, I found this piece of C-channel. You see how nice and sharp that edge is there? And you look down, it's nice and straight. Okay. Now this is not that thick, but it's nice and heavy. Okay. What I like about that is because if you come over here, that passes right through there, okay? And it's long enough that it's longer than the table itself, okay? That's the first piece. So then I needed some way to mount sliders. So I found this piece of angle iron here. It's pretty thin, it's only 1/8 or whatever, 2 inch. And I'm gonna use that, and I'm just gonna mount that on the sides of it this way for sliders. That's just gonna mount like that and slide back and forth. That'll be my slider. I'll have 2 of them on it, but one will be mounted solid, the other one won't, and it'll be mounted with a bolt and a nut that you can tighten up. Now, I have an abundance of these kicking around. These are handles off grinders. They're always kicking around, okay? So I went through them all. The problem with this, I wanted something that wasn't going to interfere with anything, so I didn't want nothing with a shoulder on it. This is pretty heavy, okay? Has a really cool piece all the same. It's got the knurled edge on it and whatever, and a bit of brass, so. Yeah, and this one here had a bolt on it, but it was awful small. I had this shoulder on it. I didn't want the shoulder on the handle, right? And I come across this old one here, and I found a nut to fit it. So this one here is what I'm going to use. And how this is going to work is that you're going to be able to slide this across, back and forth like this, and there's going to be a thing here that you'll just tighten up like so. So you loosen that up, and you'll slide it forward and back, and you tighten that up, and that'll pull on that side there, and then it'll tighten up against this side here to hold it steady on the thing. So there'll be no mounting to it, bolted to it anyway. It'll just slide on and off. That's all it'll do. So I'm going to start rigging this up, and you'll understand it better when I start piecing it all together. But I put a bit of thought into this. I went and sized up. It's much the same guide as what you see like on a table saw, that type of thing. I was down in the basement the other night sizing up the one that was down there, and I said, oh, okay, that'll work, that idea there. So then I come up and adapted some of the ideas into that with some junk I got kicking around here. So let's get something built here. So here's what I got done so far. I cut off a piece of that angle iron, and I got a sliver of metal put between that and the bottom of this here, so that when that goes up tight against that there, there's still a bit of play in it. And I clamped it on there, and then I put this in place and clamped it on both sides and took the square and squared it up to the table, okay? I was concerned about the table being square to the die, but I think I'm going to square it up to the table, and if I got to adjust the table to square the die up to the die itself, I'll do that. I'll shim it or do something that if I got to move it side to side. It shouldn't be that bad anyway. But it's a lot easier to have it square on the table than it is try to square up the die and have this crooked like this all the time. So I figured I'll just build it off the table. And once I gets it made and gets the die in place, I'll see the distance on it to see if it's square to the die. And if the die is not, then I'll move the table with shims and whatnot to align it up to that. So all I'm going to do here now is I'm going to come over here and I'll weld this on right here. So this is permanently going to become part of this piece here. And I'll weld it on there and I'll grind dress that up. And that'll be my first piece of the guide. So you see me, I got that welded on there, now I got to clamp back down there again. I went over there, and over here what I got done, I got a piece of angle iron, and I took a sliver of steel, I welded on to make it longer, because I never had a piece that was long enough, and I wanted to have a nice sharp inside corner here, so it's just a matter, like there's not a large strain on this, it's just something to hold it steady, that's all it is, okay? So I welded that on that and dressed that off there. I'm not getting fancy right yet, okay? I'll trim all this up after the fact. I never like trying to make everything just so as you're going. Once you get it all made and gets it operational, and if you got to make any changes, make them. After all that's done, then you can pretty everything up, okay? In here now, I turned around, I got another piece here that's just sat here that we welded this here. I drilled holes through both of it, and I welded a nut onto the inside of this here. This is what the handle's going. I managed to find a bolt, but I couldn't find nothing with a short shoulder on it, so I had to put some spacers and everything in there that's only temporary, just so I can tighten all this down. I took a piece of 18 gauge metal and I drilled a hole in it and I clamped it between the two of them. Then what I did is I got this here squared up on the table. And I come over here, now this is close here. I'm going to weld this on here. Now this 18 gauge, when you take it out, that's going to let this intersection here come in more, okay? And it'll pull the table over this way, is what it'll do. And it'll tighten everything up, okay? That's the concept behind it. And then once I get all that done, I'll trim it up. So all I'm going to do here now is I'm just going to come in here and weld this on here. This is my edge, by the way, that I'm going to use for my guide. This section here, all this here is on the back side of the guide. And I'm going to weld this on here and then see what it's like. So there you have it. I got the shim removed now, and I just got this left on it because it's still warm. The handle's made of plastic, and I don't want it to melt. When you back that off, it puts a gap in there, okay? And then when it puts a gap in there, you can slide it back and forth, like so. And then all you got to do then is just come over and tighten up the handle, like so. Now that's permanently mounted. What's neat about this is that when it's tightened up, it's right angle. But now that I got that done, I see where this has got to go. I'm going to mark this now, and I'm going to trim this up, make a nice oval top on it, and trim off this outer edge because I don't want nothing interfering with this edge here. So this here got to be trimmed off here, and I can get this all cleaned up and finish this project off. And there it is, all completed, all dressed up. Get all my clearances right, make sure everything's fitting proper, then I'll trim it to fit after, right? So, you know, got it all rounded out right nice. Both of them are rounded out on both ends, right? And that's the handle there, and just slips in the rail, and all you do then is you just loosen it up here, right? And that'll separate this bottom piece here, and it'll come apart like that, and then you slide that on, and then you can just pull it tight with that there, tighten it up. There it is, just loosened up. There you go, and you can just tighten it up like so, and that's permanently mounted on the table. You can just take this off the storage, and put that all the way back there, out of my way. If it's in the way, I'll take it off, but I'll just use it for storage. I'm moving small panels. And I'll haul that up here somewhere. Clamp that down, make sure it's squared to the die, and then I can actually push my panel through here. I got a nice guide to go along there. So, that's modification number 8. Now, that's it for this. There's a dozen other things you could probably be doing. I could probably drill holes here for doing circles or circumferences. I'm not going at that right now. I'll leave that alone. If any time I want to build anything unusual and I can modify this to do it, I'll do it. But basically, the few hobbles I got going now, this is the stuff that I need to do. So now that I got this done, it's time to make this pretty. I've always had a problem with finishing anything off. Once I got to the point it was functional, I'd walk away from it, I'd just use it, okay? But I got a lot of time put into this, and it's a lot of fun, so I'm not going to get carried away with it now, okay? There's a brine finish on this. I'm going to knock it off with a bit of 100 and I might prime it. I'm probably going to prime the outside of it. And I've picked up some cheap spray bombs. Interesting color. I wanted a drab color. I wanted a flat color. I didn't want a shiny color. But I didn't want flat black, okay? And granted, I love flat satin black and stuff like that, but for something like this here, it'd be nice to have something with a bit of color to it. So I got a couple of things up my sleeves here now, so I'm gonna go ahead, get this all prepped, and get it painted. And then when it comes back, you're gonna see this thing fully operational. And there you have it, finished product. I never got carried away with this now, mind you. Like, you could have went crazy with this. You could have filled it, primed it, sanded it, base cleared it, do all that. I'm not going at that. I got enough things to be at here other than that. I just picked up some satin sage spray bombs from the local store, cheap. I got 3 cans for like 15 bucks. And, you know, it's still a bit sticky here. It's been painted a couple of days now. It's all cheap old paint, right? But I wanted the satin look and I wanted the light color. I always enjoyed the pastel colors. And, you know, just one of those things. This here, I just played around with that. I went to the local arts and crafts store and I picked up a package of stencils that you can make your own letters and everything out of. And I've used these before. It's more like a military style thing. You see, like on old army trucks and it, I always like that look. It's far from perfect, and it's, you know, it's got imperfections and everything in it, but that's what I always liked about that, is the flaws. It always just gives a character, okay? Everything came out nice. Painted everything up, the guide, the bead roller inside and out. I had some issues. These here, okay, when I put this together, these here were not all the same. They all had their place where they had to go, and it took me 3 or 4 times to try to figure out what way to do them bead rolls, or them blocks itself. So it took me a bit of fooling around. I knew where this one went because I had the threaded bolt in it, and I just had to figure out where this one here went and the 2 on the back side went. But like, I rewired it all, I got it all done, tidied it all up, and got it all done. And just, you know, you see me do that in the last video. It's pretty straightforward how it was all done. Everything is contained in there. I went and tied everything up with some tie wires or some zip ties and stuff like that, just to tidy it up some. And that there. And of course, then I painted the table itself on the bottom side. All that's painted as well. The stand is down as far as there is painted. Of course, you see my switches. And I painted the crank in that. I just used an old gunmetal gray I had there on that, and that on the spring. So that'll all work there. Other than that, of course, then I went and riveted it on the table. I just positioned it and put a few rivets in it here and there, just to give it some strength. I never got fooled. Some guys come up with some cool ideas of making designs and everything on this here. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to customize things to make it really, really look nice. But like, to me, this is more of a function than anything else. This is going to be sitting in this garage now. It's going to get covered in dust. Okay, so I don't want to put too much time into it. I have a lot of time into it now for the functionality of it. But then, of course, the spray bomb stuff is like, you know, just something. Everything I've ever had, I've never finished it. So I wanted to finish something for a change. I usually get it to bare metal, and then that's where it stays. It kicks around the shop, and sometimes I may get primer on it. And I like this color. It's just that I just find it sticky. And it'll probably be best kind after a few days. It's cold here now this time of year, so this stuff don't dry very good. Like, you can see the bodywork on this. Like, you know, you can see all the grinding marks. Some fellas hates all that stuff. Okay? You can see, like, there's absolutely no filler on this at all. Okay, what you see here is my finished metalwork. And people talk about, you know, what it's like and stuff like that. See if I can get this turning the light here. Oh God, I can't get no light on that at all. Turn around, turn around, turn around. That's probably a bit better there. Oh, it's still hard to see. But like you can see the cornered edges and the rolls over the top and, you know, all that there. And you can see the nice crisp edge all the way around there. None of that has been filled. That's just what it is. Okay. Got 2 rusty bolts. Got to have some rust in it. Right. Up here, you can see where I dented all this in here and where I folded that in around. It's far from perfect. But it looks nice now where this is all welded on. It just looks like a slip down over it. All the spot welds have been grinded down. Nothing's been filled. Just, I put a coat of black primer on everything. And then I just turn around and give that a quick scuff with a Scotch pad. And then I painted it to green. I think there's 3 coats of this green on it. And, you know, I left it alone for a few days. But the foot pedal down here, I had that all set up. I didn't like the way it was, and my foot wouldn't fit in it very good. So I ended up cutting the top off it in order to give myself a lot more room for my foot to work, because I want to be able to turn it on and off and whatnot, right? So, and of course the guide, painted that. There's some neat features that I had locked into with this thing. I noticed here, see this drop here? That'll fit inside this block. When this drops down, this will fit inside here. So I can do like a 1-inch bead off the edge of a panel. So if I wanted to like do edging or something like that, I can actually move this out here and that'll fit in here between this. Is low enough that it'll fit on either side of this here. Now, granted, if I want to go right on that edge or forward of that edge, it'll be a bit of a trouble. It's just the front edge, I can probably grind it off if I look for a certain size or whatever. But other than that, works best kind. Just loosen it up like that now, and you just push it back like so. It's a bit tight there now. Everything's sticky because it's painted, right? But it all works good. I just tighten it up there, and that's solid there now. That's not moving. Well, hey, that's it. So now next thing we can do is play with it. Let's have some fun here now. Just going to play around with this a bit now. I got it plugged in. Turn it on, set it up. It's going to take me a while to figure out, get used to everything here. What I got here is a bunch of scrap 18 gauge metal, and I still got the coating on it. I'm going to try it with the coating on it. I'm not going to bother cleaning it off yet. I'm just going to crank this down here now and just see if I can get, see what it's like to run a few beads. Let's see if I can repeat the same bead. Slow it down a bit. That's pretty good. How slow can we get this to go? Start off with a turned edge. Pretty cool. Now let's try the guide. I'm getting used to the speed here. where it's got to be, roughly where it's got to be. I'm going to line this up on the guide down, just feed it through and put a straight edge on it. A little bit tighter again. Go through a second time. That's nice and straight. Right? Look down that, look. Nice and straight. Now let's remove the guide. Get that back in for now. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to run another bead on it. When it's turn on it, I'm going to use this as a guide. I'm going to use this line here now as a guide off the inside of the die. Stop here, turn it down a bit. Then I'm going to turn it. What's it like if I go backwards? I'll go back over that now. This way. Alright, so now I'm going to put a turn on. I'm going to add a bit more pressure on that now. Do the same thing again. And up a bit. There we have it. Nice little feature there. Nice and strength to that there now. It's pretty cool. I like that. It's working out really good. I can change the dies up, try different things with it, but you get the gist of it. You can see me slowing down, going reverse. How easy I can get to the dial. How good the table works, the guide, all that type of stuff. So I am very pleased with what I come up with here. Worked out great. I played around a bit more, done the same thing again. Just curiosity about getting lines parallel. And I was using this here. All I was doing was lining them up. You can see this section here. I was lining that up with the inside of the die right there. And I wasn't looking at this no more, and all I was doing was guiding that there until I got over to here, and then I just turned around and drove off it. And then I can win and through it again with the second time. But I just wanted to repeat the process again, see if I can make two, and I did. So they came up pretty good. Look. It's quite interesting, little step on them, going down through it. Gives it lots of strength. Gives a nice little feature when you're looking at it. I'd soon do step dies like this here. I'm going to play around with a few other ideas that I got in my head for doing like beads and using this here. I'm going to use make a bead similar to this here, but this here will be step down. And then just will step down here and step down here, and it'll just come up in the end. That's the idea I got in my head, 2 beads. The little oval beads that comes on these style here. I don't know. I'll use them for something, but I want to experiment and use the step die more than anything else. It's a die I never had before, and I've always thought about and seen things that I liked. And a lot of factory stuff came with just a step in it like this here, and there's always every in it. So, but anyway, there you have it. The cheap bead roller with some modifications done with basic tools. And I bought some Amazon pieces. The rest is just made out of scrap, okay? There's nothing here that I had to go out and purchase. Now, a lot of people just turn around and don't have nothing to start with, but like I've been gathering steel for years. You know, this is all shelving. This is an old shelf, scrap steel. That there was just like a piece of angle iron that I welded together and made a strip out of it, you know. It was not much to it. There's a bit of round rod welded on there, a bit of square stock, a bit of framing from an old store display used to hold for the base for the table. So, and then up here you can just see, like, you know, the way it all mounts up here. Everything's best kind. It all can come clear now when I can take that there and I can drop that down. I can get access to that panel there and make sure it all works good, right? But that's it for the bead roller. This is where I'm stopping with this one. I'm going to put this aside now, and I got it for future. I want to get started on some projects, back on some projects, and I'm going to need this to do it. So anyway, I hope the tips are good, and until next time.